why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did it take us here tonight for the first time for him to say it? He still won't denounce globalize the intifada, which means kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't do it.
Older Jewish Americans are looking up right now.
His divisiveness is
Hamas and Hassan Piker.
And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani, thank you. Gentlemen, we have to move on. This week, the world is reacting to President Trump's Israel-Hamas peace deal and the release of the hostages.
Would you glaze Trump?
Many are cautiously optimistic.
Would you give Trump credit?
About a lasting peace.
I hate this shit.
Of course, the mayor has no direct role in foreign affairs.
Great bar.
We certainly have a lot of questions for you about city matters.
Talk about credit.
This war has been a major topic in the campaign. And there are criticisms about your positions in the past and how you envision leading on these issues
That's how I feel when there's credit.
So we have questions for all of you, but first for Mr. Mamdani, because something you said that's been generating headlines in the news today as we come into the debate. Yesterday on Fox News, you were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas.
It's not. It's
Israel
less confusing.
Beyond the question
it's more
of
confusing
justice,
to ask the
safety,
fucking New York mayor
and the fact
this
that
question.
anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas.
We're going to do that question. When was the last time you talked to
the
Hamas?
Israeli military? So for the voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas and how lasting peace will be achieved? We know it's a complicated matter, but we'd like you to keep your answer to a minute if you could.
Of course, I believe that they should lay down their arms. I'm proud to be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid. I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is just. And for it to be just, we also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this. Conditions like occupation, like the siege, and apartheid. And that is what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah.
What now?
If I may,
Anti-Zohran haters?
From the
Excuse
river
me.
to the sea.
I'm being marginalized.
Cuomo's like this.
It's a debate of three. Excuse me, Andrew. It's a debate of three. Do we acknowledge that? Three people?
Mr. Sliwa, go ahead, and we'll give you a second. Go ahead, Mr. Sliwa.
Oh, man, Sliwa.
President of the United States should have been applauded by you, Zohran Mamdani, and you, Andrew Cuomo, on the day that he brought together that international coalition that met in Egypt, that came from the Middle East and the Persian Gulf. I certainly applauded him for bringing peace to Gaza and trying to end the hostilities in the war between the Israelis and Hamas.
Yeah,
so there can be peace between the Israelis and peace between the Palestinians. But you seem, Zohran, to be incapable of praising our president. You were incapable of praising our president.
We have
Give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions.
Yeah, we need America who properly gives credit.
Brief response, because we do have other questions on this issue that you may be able to address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalized intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond to that.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hassan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Melissa has another
We're going to turn it to Sally, actually.
Yeah, actually, this kind of flows, and then we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani, you told NBC's Meet the Press that you don't believe it's the role of the mayor to police speech.
How do
Your
you
words
feel?
about this war have
your thing.
comforted
I knew it was
many New
gonna happen.
Yorkers,
Yeah.
but they've troubled
No, but
others.
I
and I want
knew
to
it was
ask
gonna
about some
happen,
of this.
and he actually
There
was
is your
pretty nice
recent
about
refusal,
it.
as we
Oh,
just
yeah,
discussed, to condemn the slogan "Globalize the Intifada," which many view as a call
But
to
this is the real
arms.
shit.
In 2017, you rapped lyrics praising the Holy Land
cannot
Five. These are
believe
men
that
who were
this is the
convicted of
fucking
supporting terrorism.
Focus.
How would you assure New Yorkers, especially
the subways?
Jewish residents who
What
might
about
be concerned about this, that you would be a mayor for all?
Childcare,
You
what
have
else?
1 minute to answer this.
Thank you for this opportunity. When I am speaking about the responsibility of leading this city, I mean leading not just those who voted for me, leading not just those who vote, but leading every single person who calls the city home. And that includes Jewish New Yorkers. And I have been so thankful for the opportunity I've had to sit with so many Jewish New Yorkers over the course of the primary and through the general. And it's in those conversations that I learned that this phrase evokes many painful memories. Memories of bus attacks in Haifa, of restaurant attacks in Jerusalem. And I heard from a rabbi about their roommate who was killed on one of those buses. And in hearing that and the distance between that impact and the rationale that some use of saying it, of speaking about the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, is why I said that I would discourage this language that I do not use. And what I'm looking to do as the first Muslim mayor of this city is to ensure that we bring every New Yorker together. Jewish New Yorkers, Muslim New Yorkers, every single person that calls this city home, that they understand they won't just be protected, but they will belong.
Mr. Sliwa, we will get to you. First, I'm going to ask a question of Mr.
Curtis.
Cuomo. While you are a strong supporter of Israel, you have also been slow to develop a relationship with the city's Muslim community.
Thank you, Universal
have
Power
called
user,
Mr.
for this one to
Mamdani
get the
a
subs.
terrorist sympathizer. How do you assure those New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the Assemblyman created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did it take us here tonight for the first time for him to say it? He still won't denounce, globalize the Intifada, which means kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't do it.
older Jewish New
That's the
Yorkers are
issue.
looking
And
up
his
right now.
divisiveness is ironic.
Why did you say Hamas and Hassan
Can you please
Piker?
answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have been.
I don't think in any way the Assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community, which is a vital community in New York City, and I am very fond of, and I've been working with. I think he's playing his own politics. Many of his positions don't even follow the Muslim faith, so I see them as two totally separate.
He thinks it's a bad
Respond?
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except
you know,
that is
as
totally
a-
Curtis, that's not one more time, I'm
with the
gonna kill this.
Muslim
I'm gonna
community
die.
for many, many
Name
years.
a single mosque
Kill
you went to.
myself in a video game. I'm
Before-
not saying that.
Can you name
I
a
wanna-
single mosque you went to in 10
Before you were
years?
ever here. They were
Before
in
I
this-
was here.
Before you were even in state government, I worked with
Okay.
the Muslim community.
Yeah.
Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups,
couldn't
tolerance
visit a
groups,
mosque.
anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Sliwa, Rosarita has a specific question for you, but I'll give you a second
Zohran,
here just to weigh in.
this is what disturbs me about you. You will be celebrating your birthday this weekend. In 1991, I was in the streets of Crown Heights with the Guardian Angels for 30 days and 30 nights when the first Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City, that's right, David Dinkins, was a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, abandoned the Jews for 3 days. They were left to their own means. And we protected them for 30 days and 30 nights. When the first Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City, that's right, David Dinkins, was a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, abandoned the Jews for 3 days. They were left to their own means. And we protected them for 30 days and 30 nights. Then your favorite mayor, Bill de Blasio, in 2019, abandoned the Jews again when they were being attacked in Williamsburg, in Borough Park, and Crown Heights.
Mr.
And I had
Sliwa,
to bring the Guardian Angels in for 30 days, 30 nights.
Mr. Sliwa,
Jews don't trust that you are going to
Mr.
be
Sliwa.
there for them when they are victims of anti-Semitic attacks.
Okay. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani. We have a specific question for you from Rosarina, but Mr. Mamdani, please.
I agree,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
One of the
Great.
most meaningful experiences I've had over the course of this campaign has been the conversations I've had with Jewish New Yorkers. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about the door that they've had to lock that they had kept open for 40 years. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me on the M57 about an apartment the speech therapist was trying to sell when a realtor told her, put the Jewish books off the table. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about their fear in living in this city. And I will be a mayor who finally addresses that, not through the theatrics of the politics on the stage, but through action. I'll do that by ensuring that we have police officers outside of
I want to get to the question.
The Jewish New Yorkers who feel for some reason Zohran being mayor is going to make them unsafe. They're not being.
Rosarina.
You got them. There's no Jews who are like on the fence going like, well.
Palestinian protests, and you've suggested that Mr.
Like
Mamdani
those
uses
votes have been
languages
decided.
that is anti.
If you notice, the Assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state. He is a divisive personality all across the board. NYPD are racist. Barack Obama is evil, liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
By the way, Cuomo, your laws with no cash bail turn the haters right back in the street to violate and attack again and again and again.
Thank you.
You're the reason for that. No cash bail.
Yeah, you don't know what
just-
you're talking about.
Thank you. Go ahead.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any
As a Jewish state.
I said that I will not
As a Jewish state.
if I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear. And part of that is because I'm an American who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel or whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New Yorkers
All right,
You
gentlemen,
answered the question.
We
don't
want
support Israel.
to address some issues.
You
All
do
right,
bring
and we
him in
have
back.
another polarizing
I think
issue
so.
that
I
we would
think
love to
he's
discuss
scrambling.
with you candidates. And let's talk about the National Guard here in the city of New York. Now let's go back to Mr. President Donald Trump. One threat hanging
bring
over
him
the
back to New
city
York.
is
Good
the
idea.
deployment of the National Guard troops like he has done, as you all know, in other cities. The NYPD commissioner has rejected the idea as unnecessary, but the president ordered troops to hit the streets of New York. Now, how would you respond? Mr. Sliwa, you have a minute.
There's no need for the National Guard in New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor,
'Cause I got
when we
it.
had
I'm
a
the
crime
guardian
crisis in
angel.
the subways that I'm well familiar with, being down there all the time, unlike my two adversaries. She sent 750 National Guardsmen down into the subways in 2024. Remember the horrible case of Debrina Kawan. Does anybody even say her name anymore? That woman who was set on fire by that migrant. As a result of that, the worst crime I've ever seen committed in the subway system, the governor did the right thing. She sent an additional 250 National Guardsmen, giving us a total of 1,000 National Guardsmen in the subway system, while our mayor, Eric Adams, was telling us it was all a perception.
Laura Loomer.
So Governor Hochul has responded.
Oh, wow.
I would
She's been trying to get me deported
the
nonstop.
President of the United States, since I'm familiar with cities
we'll look
all
at that
across
after.
America having guardian angels there, if you were going to send the National Guard, you don't need to send them to New York
Oh, I
City.
wasn't wrong.
There
He
are
did
other
say
cities
the guardian
that
angels
could
got it.
desperately use their help in
Thank
dealing
you.
with their crime crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
We got it.
Mr. Mamdani,
No
how would you
need.
respond?
You know, I
Make
agree
it
with
the
Police
National
Commissioner Tish
Guardian
that we do not
Angels.
need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. What New Yorkers need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety. When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that
New York
Andrew
Times
Cuomo
already
could say.
fact-checking
Thank you, Mr.
him.
Mamdani. Mr.
Yeah, first, the answer in the subways is not more National Guard. I put National Guard in the subways also. It's more NYPD is the answer. But the National Guard is not, he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power.
Sure.
He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. He has said if the assemblyman is elected, he will take over New York. Forget the National Guard.
But this is
he
not the
has said,
question.
I'm going to
The
take
question
the
is,
funds.
if they order the troops to come here, what
Yes,
would you do?
well, I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship
Wait a
with the
second.
president.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive.
Curtis. Get his ass, Curtis.
Let me tell you something.
Get his
you
ass,
lost
Curtis.
your own
Curtis
primary,
low-key
right?
kind of
You
likes
were
Zohran, by the
rejected
way.
by
Have you
your
noticed that?
Democrats.
Yeah.
Why
And
didn't
you have
he
a
send the
difficulty
National Guard?
Because he looks at it like we're the same
understanding
age. You're
what
not
the
a man.
term
You
no
patrol the
is.
streets like
You're
me.
not going to stand up
I
to
think
Donald
he
Trump.
hates
And I
Andrew
agree with
Cuomo
Curtis.
more than
You're
he
not
hates
going to
Zohran.
stand
Absolutely.
up to Donald Trump.
Like, he's like,
and he can't stand
at
up
his
to
heart,
Donald
he's
Trump.
a New
who
Yorker,
knocked him
and so
right
is
on his
Zohran.
place.
Andrew is
Can
not.
I
You
say-
negotiate with him. You don't fight with him because
thank you.
only the people of New York City will lose.
We
yeah.
do have a
Stand up
follow-up.
to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
I'd like to see a show of hands. Are there any circumstances where any of you would allow the NYPD to cooperate with the National Guard if Trump sent them to New York?
9/11.
Show of hands. Yes? Takers. Okay. Moving on. If history is a guide, National Guard troops in the city could trigger protests. And we have questions for each of you about how you would handle that. So, Mr. Sliwa, you have been arrested for protesting migrant housing and for trying to serve Mayor Bill de Blasio with court papers. How would your NYPD handle protests? And would you continue participating in protests as mayor? You have 1 minute.
Well, I have been arrested oftentimes in civil disobedience. That is a great American right. But demonstrations have a time and a place. And it used to be before Bill de Blasio, I know he was your favorite mayor, Zohran Mamdani, that you'd have to get a permit. There's a time period you were in a structured area. You get a sound permit. It could be turned around in a day. If there was going to be civil disobedience, you discussed it with the police department. And obviously, you had an opportunity of expressing your anger or your outrage at whatever it was that motivated you to sit down in the street, to block traffic or block an egress. Now we have rampaging groups that go running through the streets, that enter all kinds of facilities and violate other people's rights. And there's no one who's willing to stop it. When I'm the mayor, there are rules and regulations. Everybody has the right to demonstrate. But you can't violate other people's rights, or you yourself must be arrested.
He's such a funny dude.
And he's saying, I'm not going to stand up to Trump. I don't get it, but he's saying, I'm going to stand up.
Remove those face
He doesn't care
coverings.
about anything.
Why
He's
are
just
you
like very
afraid of identifying
issue-specific.
who
He's
you
like,
are as a
no more
demonstrator?
subway trains.
Unless
Too
maybe
much
you're an
subway.
agent provocateur
No
and you
migrant
sent
housing.
in here to cause chaos.
Thank you.
You can protest, just
The next
not on the
question goes to you,
subway.
Mr. Mamdani. You were arrested for
No
blocking
areas of
traffic in a
egress.
pro-Palestinian protest, and you participated in a sit-in at Grand Central. Protesters offered block streets, bridges, and hubs like Grand Central. How much of that would you allow as mayor, and what's your line in having the NYPD arrest protesters? You have a minute.
Protest is a part of what makes this city's history what it is. It is a part of the First Amendment. We deserve to have a mayor who stands up for that First Amendment, especially as we have a president that's looking to shred it at each and every opportunity. And we will continue to have protests in this city, as we should, no matter who is the mayor. And the line will be on the question of breaking the law. What we have today, however, is an attempt to intimidate so many who are looking to use that freedom of expression to share their opinions about the city and the world around them. And to be frank with you, what New Yorkers are looking for is someone who can show leadership in City Hall. Because when they don't see that leadership, that's when so many take to the streets. And if you had a leader like Andrew Cuomo, who was telling people not to overreact when they see ICE agents abducting girls as young as 6 years old to deport them, many New Yorkers will take to the streets. We deserve to have a leader who will actually be following through on the values of the city. That's the leader that I'll be.
Mr. Mamdani, just a quick follow-up. If you're elected, would you still participate in protests?
No, if I'm elected, I'll be the mayor, and I'll be leading the city from City Hall.
But no participation in protests, right?
The important thing is to lead from City Hall. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah. If I may respond, because I believe my name was invoked.
A very brief response, and then I have a question for you.
I dealt with ICE. I stood up with ICE. I had a war with ICE
stood up
here
with
in New York
ICE.
when I was governor. And I stood them down, and they moved out. What the assemblyman is saying is, He doesn't believe in law and order. He believes in defunding the police, disarming the police, disbanding the police. That's who he is. Abolish jails.
Sorry, I have a question for you. Okay, 15 seconds.
Very quickly.
Mr. Mamdani, and then we do just 15 seconds because we have a question for Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo lies again and again and again. I am not running to defund the police. I am running to actually work with the police to deliver public safety. Andrew Cuomo says that he has stood up to ICE. He has not said a word about the abductions that are happening right now.
He's referring to a previous comment you made, and we will get back to this. But Mr. Cuomo, a question for you.
It's a comment he made. Is the operative language.
That, yes, I understand. I said that. As governor, you put the National Guard on standby during the George Floyd protests. You didn't deploy them. As mayor, talk about how you would balance the right to protest with maintaining order in the streets.
The right to protest is a sacred right. There is no doubt about that. But the law is the law also. And you have New Yorkers now who are afraid in this city. They're afraid of Donald Trump coming, they're afraid of that anarchy, and they're afraid of the anarchy in this city itself. We have to provide public safety that makes New Yorkers feel safe. Demonstration is one thing. Violating the law is something else. Blocking public transit is something else. Stopping students from going to class is something else. Harassment, intimidation, that's a hate crime. That's illegal. Enforce the law. Respect the police. They're not racists, as the assemblyman calls them. They're not a threat to public safety, as he says.
At this in general.
They're not anti-queer.
It's already too contentious for him, but like,
he's also to protect
lost
New Yorkers, work with them, fortify them.
Whatever he had.
That's ironic that you say that now,
I'm sorry,
Andrew Cuomo, because when you were governor for 8 years, your parole board released 43 cop killers back into the street. Your father, when he was governor, released none. I knew Mario Cuomo. You're no Mario Cuomo, Andrew. You bring this don't say you're pro.
Mr. Mamdani, do you want to respond briefly to the comments that Mr. Cuomo raised about things you've said about police? You can do a brief response to that.
I have been clear time and time again that as much as Andrew Cuomo wants to bring up tweets from 2020, which is around the same time that he was sending seniors to their death in nursing homes, I am looking to work with police officers, not to defund the NYPD, looking to ensure that officers can actually do one job
like
when they're signing up to join that
9/11 is from 2019.
Like he was specifically referring to the comments you made. We will come back to that, but we're out of time.
Why are you bringing up all the grandparents I killed?
We're moving on. Thank you.